Thank you very much, Mr. de Klerk. I think I can honestly say from all of us that was a truly candid and very inspirational speech. As you said, one of the most difficult things of a leader is to know when to step down. And I think many of us would say that history would judge your actions in the way it should be judged. And you and Mr. Gorbachev will have your proper role in history. Now, I'd like to open it up for any questions that anyone you may have. Please, when you have a question, please, yes, I know you're very keen. I see you all. I just wanted to, I'm sure there'll be many questions for you, sir. Please state your name and your affiliation, simply so that Mr. de Klerk can have a better sense of where you're from. So please, yourself here, and then the lady afterwards, please.
Good evening, Mr. de Klerk. I would like to thank you for your most inspiring oration. My question relates to the 1992 whites-only referendum that was held in South Africa. You mentioned during your speech that by 1989, you were clear in your mind that apartheid was the wrong course. Why then was the oration held in, why then was the referendum held in 1992? Was that a moment of self-doubt for you as a leader? And what if the referendum went against you? Thank you.
No, there was no self-doubt at that stage. We then, until we got our new constitution in 1994, had a typical Westminster system. We had a three-chamber parliament for which whites, people of mixed origin, so-called coloreds, and Indians voted. And in the white chamber, it was on a constituency basis, like in the British Parliament. So the main opposition was the Conservative Party, which was absolutely diametrically opposing all the reforms that were being negotiated. And what happened is that in by-elections, after the September general election of '89, we started losing constituencies to this Conservative Party. Constituencies where we won in September '89 with a majority of 2,000, a by-election occurred and suddenly we lost it by 1,000, a 3,000 vote swing. So they accused me that I no longer had a mandate to negotiate a new constitution and a new dispensation, an all-inclusive dispensation in which all South Africans would have a vote of equal value. And they said I must resign and call a new election in terms of the then prevailing constitution. And I said no. I won't call an election, I will call a referendum. All the voters now know on where we're going to, what we are negotiating. Let them say, must I go ahead with this, yes or no? And then, when confronted with this question, 69.9% of the white voters said, go ahead with it. It refreshed my mandate. It improved my position at the negotiation table. An interesting aspect of that all-white referendum was how wise President Mandela was. He totally stepped back and he allowed me to sort this conservative opposition out in that referendum. The ANC did not interfere. They understood the need for refreshment of my mandate, which I got in the September '89 elections. And it was very helpful the way in which the ANC handled it. So it was a democratic exercise to re-establish a mandate for fundamental change.
I'm sorry, my second part was, if the referendum would have resulted in a no vote, to use your analogy, would you have jumped off the canoe?
I would then, no, I wouldn't. I would have resigned, and I would have called an election, and I would have fought to again win the election, but in all probability, if I lost the referendum, I would have lost the election too. I took a calculated risk.
Thank you. Question there, please. If anyone in the other rooms would like to ask a question, I think you might have to stand in front of the microphone so that I can see you. Okay, there's a gentleman there. After this one, I'll recognize. Please go ahead.
Do you think Burma's President Thein Sein and his government are pretending to change? And what advice would you give to them, as well as to your fellow Nobel Peace Prize winner, Aung San Suu Kyi?
Former President.
No, President Thein Sein. Is he resistant to change? And what advice would you give to Aung San Suu Kyi?
I'm not an expert on what is happening in Burma, in Myanmar,
Okay.
but let me say my impression from the outside is that the present president there is willing to work towards fundamental change. The fact how he has handled Aung San Suu Kyi, the lifting of her house arrest, allowing her to campaign and to be in public are all very good signs. My advice to both Aung San Suu Kyi and to the President, because both of them are important role players in that situation, would be on the basis of our experience. You cannot find a solution unless you negotiate and talk to each other. I don't know of